Good evening, YouTube or BookTube. This is Johnny. Thought I'd make a video just spontaneously, sitting in my main study. It is May the 30th, according to my calendar. It is May the 30th, 2020. It is 6:28 in the evening here in West Michigan. It is a kind of a coolish day. Probably 59 degrees, 60 degrees. Yeah, it's a Saturday evening and I am in my main study writing in my diary. I'm on page 515 for the year 2020. This is my May. And then we go in on Monday, we go into June 2020. And hopefully June we'll find out if this plague is going to be a second wave of people getting this virus. So today I got up this morning around 6:30 and I read for morning worship, Unity and Continuity in Covenantal Thought, A Study and Reformed Tradition to the Westminster Assembly by Andrew A. Woolsey. I read this off and on. I'm on the chapter, this next chapter is on John Calvin on the covenantal conditions. And then I read some more of Herman Bavinck, Reformed Ethics, Created, Fallen, and Converted Humanity. This is volume 1. And I read this morning on Humanity Under the Power of Sin. So I read that this morning. And then I came across in Amazon that Kevin Barry has a new novel out. I can't remember the title of it now. But I bought his novel that came out in, what year did this come out? 2015. I bought this novel, Beatlebone, by Kevin Barry. And I was kind of tired of reading what I had been reading. And so I started reading this afternoon. Beatlebone. Says here in the back, well, it says it was a New York Times notable book. If I see a New York Times notable book, I just buy it. That's just how I am. But it says in the back here, in 1978, and John Lennon has escaped New York City to try to find the island off the west coast of Ireland he bought 11 years prior, leaving behind domesticity, his approaching 40s, and inability to create, and memories of his parents. He sets off to calm his unquiet soul in the comfortable silence of isolation. But when he puts himself in the hands of a shape-shifting driver full of Irish charm and dark whimsy, what ensues can only be termed a magical mystery tour. Beatlebone is a tour de force of language and literary imagination, a surreal novel that blends fantasy and reality, Hibernian high-wire act of courage, nerve, and great beauty. So I bought this a couple of years ago and never got around to reading it. So I got it out because I wanted something to read. And so I got this. I also got out these books to look at in the next week. Thomas Nashe, The Unfortunate Traveler, and Other Works. He was around the time of Shakespeare, Thomas Nashe. This is in the Penguin English Library collection. I came across this recently in a list of top books to read, and I realized I had this used, so I got it out. This is by Thomas Nashe, The Unfortunate Traveler, and Other Works. He lived around the time of William Shakespeare. And then I start reading again John Barth, The Sot-Weed-Factor. I was reading this last month and I put it aside, but I want to get back into it in the month of June. And then I wanted to look at, in the month of June, The Anatomy of Melancholy by Robert Burton. This is a very massive thing. It's around 1,000 pages. So I want to look at this in the month of June. So John Barth, The Sot-Weed-Factor, Thomas Nashe, The Unfortunate Traveler, and Other Works, Anatomy of Melancholy by Robert Burton. This came out he lived from 1577 to 1640. The first edition of Anatomy of Melancholy appeared in 1621, the time of the English Puritans. So tonight I am reading Beatlebone and writing in my diary, drinking a glass of wine, and just waiting for tomorrow is the last day of May 2020. Monday is June the 1st. It's the last week my wife works. She retires next week fully from work, and hopefully month of June would be a better month for America. It's been a very hard week for America and all the crap coming down. But we just have to look to the Lord and cry out for mercy. So I hope you're having a good weekend. I thank you for the new subscribers, and hope that the month of June is a better month for all of us, not only in America, but throughout the world. So yeah, I know what else to report. Like I said, tomorrow in my diary is May 31st, 2020. I did get out my New Mexico hat. I have to wear a hat now when I go outside because I'm going bald and my scalp will burn. But yeah, so I'll sign off and hope once again that you're all doing well. I really appreciate all your comments, and I do thank you for the subscribers, and it's always a blessing for me to get new subscribers and comments, and I really want to just be a friend. So I'll sign off, and until next time, bye.